right, everybody. Welcome to this special edition of the MikiDz Podcast. I am DJcity. To my left, DJ Rell.
Yep.
And to my right, MikiWAR.
Yes, sir.
And we're dropping this. Before we start, make sure you guys go check out MikiDz Podcast, which is dropping, which is already dropped this past Monday. I don't know if we're gonna release this on Tuesday or Friday. We gotta figure that out. But just know that you just make sure you check out the MikiDz episode. And so we're doing this because we all love Kobe Bryant. Some of us on the court, some of us not on the court,
Right?
But we have, being that we're in LA, and this guy has been with us throughout our whole childhood and adulthood. It meant a lot to us to lose him. And obviously it's unfortunate that there were 8 other people involved in the accident. But we just wanted to give our thoughts because I know a handful of people have reached out to us checking in and saying, like, yo, are you good? Like, as if we lost a family member. And so I think there might be a handful of you out there that are interested to hear what we have to say. And, it'd be good for us to get it off our chest at the end of the day because of our love for the man and what he meant to the city, the sport, and just as an inspirational individual. Rell, you hated him on the court.
I did.
As a New York fan,
I wasn't the biggest Kobe fan, and the reason why I wasn't the biggest Kobe fan is because I was a big Shaq fan. Obviously I'm a Knicks fan. That was a team watching growing up. Been to Madison Square Garden.
I don't think I knew that you were a Shaq's fan.
Yeah. It went from as we're talking about players. It went from Jordan. And then into Shaq, and then Tracy McGrady. But like I said, always a Knicks fan. Knicks are the team that I grew up watching. Favorite Knick was like John Starks, and obviously love Sprewell.
Yeah.
But the reason I say all that is because with Kobe, I was back when they did that first 3-peat in early 2000.
Sure.
Shaq was on Lakers, so
Yeah.
I was rooting for Shaq. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's good to see, the Shaqs winning championships. He seemed like he found a solid teammate player, and Kobe. No one's denying the phenomenal player that Kobe was, throughout his whole career. But I just felt like the way it ended with Shaq and Kobe was more so on Kobe's. Kobe was, I always been like, Kobe's being a diva. You know
Selfish.
what I mean? Like, he's being selfish. He's never going to win another championship without Shaq again. You know what I mean? And it kind of proved my point because Shaq went to Miami and then he won one with D-Wade.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, where's Kobe at? You know what I mean? So with that being said, I always said that, oh man, fuck Kobe, man. Kobe, like, the way he treated Shaq and that whole scenario. Now, again, that's just based off of the information that I had. And again, I didn't have all the information.
Right.
Living in New York at the time and didn't know it. I just saw whatever was in front of me. Or what I choose to believe and what choose not to believe.
Yeah.
So, obviously, people knew more of the story of what the issue was. Obviously, if you were born and raised in L.A., they knew
the
it.
gossip on the streets.
Yeah, exactly. So when I moved to L.A., I got educated a little bit more on the situation. But my feelings were still kind of the same. I was being biased, and I was just like, nah, fuck that.
And plus, when you hang out with when your closest friends are super duper
Super
Laker
Kobe
and Kobe
fans,
fans,
exactly.
you're like, man,
it was just for good sport.
I
and
even
just
hated
like,
Laker fans, and I'm a Laker fan.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Joe has his moments, but he's a Clipper fan, he's a Laker fan. But we give it to him.
I wear many
But
hats.
but at the end of the day, man, I respected Kobe as a fan of the sport. I respected his talent. I respected his mentality. And it was just like, it was crazy, and they always had the argument like who was the better ball player, Jordan or Kobe. And now I think nowadays or recently before the whole incident happened, the talk was always LeBron and Jordan.
Right.
And Laker fans would get like so hot about why isn't Kobe in the conversation? Like, why isn't Kobe in the conversation? And I had to agree at that moment. I had to agree with LA, and I'm just like, yo, you have to put Kobe in that conversation.
Yeah.
You had to put him, like, he spent 20 years with the same team.
Yeah.
Right.
5 championships.
Right.
I will say I don't like that now these experts are putting in Kobe in the conversation. It's like, man, just because he's passed away, like you know what I mean? Like he's been retired, so this doesn't change anything. Why all of a sudden is he in your?
I couldn't agree with you more, man. And it heartened me. And I want to share a quick story with you guys. And it has to do with Kobe, and just because we're in Mac Park, and Miki's in the reselling industry and whatnot. Wifey and I had stopped at the Nike outlet in Valencia, and I want to say it was the day after we heard the news. We heard the incident or whatever. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Monday, correct?
Monday was the day
Sunday.
after.
Sunday is the day that happened.
Sunday morning.
Yeah. And so Monday we were up in Valencia, and we was in the Nike outlet out there, and two different occasions, but at the same time happened. Yeah. Obviously we get into the store, and I go to the men's side, and wifey goes to the women's side, and we both heard it, similar conversations, and I overheard this dude on the phone, and he's happy, he's cheerful about how he flipped his Kobe's for a lot of money, like to the point where he was able to pay for a trip to Cabo.
Oh my God!
And he's like, yeah, man, he was hyped about that shit. And like again, I felt the impact that I felt. Obviously, living in LA, been in LA longer than a decade, I felt the impact that it had on this city when the news spread, and it was heartbreaking. You know what I mean? Like, I live in this city, I care about this city. This city played a major role in my life, so it hurt. So to hear that. I had this like disgusting, like just wrench feeling gut, and I literally stopped in my tracks and I looked at the dude, but he was so engaged into his phone call, his conversation, that he didn't even realize that I was mugging the shit out of him.
Right.
And I'm looking at him and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me right now, bro. Yeah. Like, it hasn't even been 24 hours yet.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
You said something to him?
I wanted to, but like I said, he was so engaged into his conversation, and he kind of like walked by me. You know what I mean? We were walking in the same direction for a little bit, and then he eventually like walked by me because I stopped, and I just looked at him, and I walked away. So I walked away, and as I'm walking towards wifey, she has the same disgust look on her face because she literally just heard someone say the same thing on the other side of the store about.
They're probably calling each other.
You know what? It's possible. It's possible. But man, just I say all that because to bring you to your point about people now all of a sudden they make one. It was disgusting because they were making a profit off this man's death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not only the person he was for LA, but just in general, you don't really like, I'm gonna make a buck off of someone else's, quote unquote death, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or whatever. So it kind of hurt, but.
Well, to interject, just because that is a fresh topic for me, and it's something that we experienced on the spot, right?
Yeah.
When we had just finished a podcast that you guys can look forward to with Charlie Sloth.
Mm-hmm.
And we were here recording on a very rare Sunday, actually, for us to be here together Sunday morning. And we're at the shop and we're packing up, and my staff is starting to open up. And as we're kind of wrapping up our normal conversation before we go home, they're letting us know that something's trending on Twitter, and it has to do with Kobe passing. And it kind of like hit us all like a ton of bricks. Like,
and we were talking about we'll get more into it later, but we were excited about the Boston link up.
Yes.
And we were like, oh, we can do this and we're going to do that. Like, we were, for whatever energy we had left that morning.
We had really good
energy.
We
were like, we were like really
Sunday.
excited about this link up.
And what's crazy is when you really think about it, right? Like, so if you follow kind of the track of the helicopter, Kobe was literally flying over us. The Burbank airport is a couple blocks away. Yeah. And that's where he was hovering for a good amount of time or nearby to make his way up to Calabasas. And we could tell, like, it was a foggy, heavy, foggy, gloomy day. And we were literally here, recording when this might have all happened. Anyway, I say all that to say that day I started to get all these notifications of sales and my phone's going off. And I'm not really responding to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking to nobody. I'm not. Like, it's Sunday. Like, what could be going on? And surely enough, man, like, people stormed our website looking for anything Kobe related.
Yeah.
And it put me in a very weird spot because, number one, I could decline, cancel, pull everything off the site and hold it. And, we do a consignment program here, so we sell stuff for people.
Yeah.
And it put me in an awkward spot because I had to make a decision. And ultimately, my decision was, a lot of people now, and I can tell you this for a fact because I'm looking for a specific pair of shoes for one of our clients, and he wants to wear the shoe for his senior night, the senior in high school. He's got his last basketball game of his season, and Kobe meant a lot to him. And so he's looking for the shoe, and I kid you not, the shoe was sitting on Nike's website the day of his passing, right? It didn't sell out.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for the shoe right now and willing to pay $600 for a shoe that was retailing for $150.
Yeah.
He's willing to pay that because he wants it for his dedication or for his moment as a kid, which I know what that means. And so at the moment, which I knew this was going to happen, as the market went up, I felt the right thing to do was to honor the sales at the market price before his passing.
Exactly.
Their shoes, I kid you not, and I didn't care to look at it in the moment, but I kid you not, there's brand new shoes that we sold, and Kobe's weren't hitting, like even the special collection joints weren't hitting for more than $150 to $200, $250, and we sold them for $150, $200. That I saw them literally in an hour jump to $400, $500, $600, $700. Like it was tough. I just felt like if people are going to consume it, at the time didn't really know a creative way. I've seen guys pull their product and raffle it off, go into charity, different things like that. Again, I even got into, I'm not going to lie, like being transparent, got into a fight with like a consignor because he wanted to pull a shoe. And I know his shoe size. And I'm like, brother, you ain't a size 12. Like, you're a size 9. Like, why do you want to pull it? Because you want to make a profit. So I said, you could pull all your product, or you could just let the sale go, continue business with us, or you could come pick up that specific shoe, that Kobe, and you could pick up the other $10,000 worth of product you have with us. Because to me, it means more. It's not about the money. It's about the loyalty and what he meant to us.
Exactly.
All individually. And to me, it meant a lot. To us, Joe and I are born and raised in the San Fernando Valley, not far from Staples, not far from everything. And what's your perspective?
Well, before I get into my thoughts with Kobe, I actually competed against John Altobelli, who's the head coach at Orange Coast, who was obviously in the helicopter. And this dude's a legend in the community college world. And community college in Southern California is extremely, extremely competitive. You get a lot of D1 bounce backs and potential top round draft picks. And just to speak to his legend for a moment, we played against them in a double elimination first round playoff series. It was us two and two other teams. We're both 1-0 going into playing each other, and we have our best pitcher, who ended up being like a top draft pick of that season. And I don't know who he had, but we jump up at them and this is speaking to how great of a coach he is. We jump out at them 4-0. We're thinking we're about to run through these guys like we just ran through Palomar College. 5th inning, they still got the start in. Like, why is this guy still in? We're killing. We're hitting home runs left and right. Coach trusts him. Altobelli trusts his starter, leaves him in, and they go on an 8-0 tear. So they beat us 8. They started smacking the shit out of our starter, our draft pick. Like, fuck, like we never had that happen before to us that season. So then we win the next game and we play them again. They're 2-0. We're 2-1. And all they got to do is beat us once and they advance. We go up 7-0 going into the 9th inning. And we face one of their better pitchers, and we tee off on him 7-0. And I don't know if I feel like if I remember correctly, most of these runs were on 2 outs. They beat us 8-7. They get all 8 runs in the 9th inning. We're just like, what the like? Who are these guys? Like, so that just speaks to how great of a coach he was. You can look up his stats, his junior college, or everything he's accomplished. But in regards to the whole Kobe situation, when that happened, we were all three of us were stuck here. We didn't know what to think. Your employee said TMZ posted it. I immediately checked another source because I do my best not to rely on TMZ.
Right.
And then it slowly started coming out, it was confirmed. So I'm driving home and I was like, yeah, I'm staying off social media for the rest of the day. And I tweeted that. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't look at my feeds. I just a regular Sunday of just doing whatever I got to do to get through the day and be productive. And I understand we all handle things differently. It is what it is. And I'm not judging anybody that went through the feeds or had their opinion or thoughts. But I got pictures with Kobe and I chose not to post them on my feed. And I just wouldn't have felt right because to me, I would have felt like I was doing it for the clout, the likes, the impressions, and all that. And it's like, I didn't want to make it about me. I wanted to leave it as is and just say, this is about, Kobe and not make it about all that, even though that's kind of what we're doing now. We're giving our thoughts on how we feel. Well, let me share a couple Kobe stories. This had to have been 2012 because he was in Vegas practicing for the All-Star for the Olympics.
Mm.
So we caught wind. This is a Party Rock Monday, Party Rock at the peak, Party Rock Anthem, 6 I know it, marquee. And so we caught word that he was there and he was sitting on the left side, on the far left table closest to us. On the left table closest to us. And what's crazy is I peeked over and saw him and he's just literally just sitting like, not like me, but just kind of like how we're sitting. And the people at the table were told, don't bother him. He just wants to be by himself. So Fu caught wind of this and I guess he already had a relationship with Kobe. So Fu shouted him out. And then when it came to champagne showers, Fu hopped off the stage and started chasing after Kobe around Marquee, trying to spray him with champagne. Now, this was a time when spraying champagne was cool. Now it's like you get into a fight, you spray someone with champagne. Unless you're in Europe or something. You're doing some VIP shit. So, so Fu was just spraying him, chasing him around Marquee, trying to spray him with champagne. And then later on, a year or two later, we did a charity event for the Lakers. And we saw him play, hopped across the street to do this charity event. And I don't remember if I went to the restroom when we got done or if I was just late to get off the stage. But I remember before the show, they said, we're all going to meet Kobe after. So make sure you guys are around. So all I remember is getting back to our green room late and everybody was gone. And I was like, oh, hell no. I know they went to go meet him. I had an idea of where they went. I knew they were going to go up some steps and go this specific route. If it was Afrojack or Calvin, oh man, I missed them. Oh well, Calvin Hair, maybe next time. I wouldn't have cared. Yeah. But man, I'm gonna meet this dude. So I raced up the steps and kind of figured out where they were. And at that time, I used to do this pose where you just boss up. You stand like this, and you and whoever you're taking a picture with would just do this, and we call it the boss up pose. And it kind of became a thing for me. People were asking me if they can boss up with me and yada yada. So it was a fun little thing. And and then I did it. I asked Kobe. I said, "Hey man, can I take a picture with you?" He's like, "Yeah, of course." I said, "Well, look, I do this thing where I call it boss up." He's like, "Oh, okay. So what do I do?" I'm like, "Yeah, you stand like this." And I was so surprised he was game. Usually it's like some guys are like, "Nah, man, I just want to chill. I'm good. Nah, that's cool. But he was like, "Let's do it, whatever." So we did, and I think that was the last time I actually did that pose. So those, and then I remember Fu in that moment. Kobe was trying to sell Fu on his shoes because Fu was really big on tennis at that time. And I swear to God, Kobe sounded like a shoe salesman in Foot Locker. Oh, but the support right here, and then the traction, and then when you stop and you go. And I remember Fu was just like, yeah, okay. So clearly the man had a passion for his own shoes. But what stuck out to me most about Kobe as a fan, it wasn't even so much about the rings and all the accolades. I've always been a fan, even though we were super duper Iverson fans. I never hated Kobe. Normally when you're a big fan of one guy like Jordan, you hate the other star player on the other team. Yeah. It was never like that with Kobe. I just had a lot of respect for the dude. But what stuck out the most above all those championships was game one. I think it was the year The championship, they lost to the Celtics. I think that was 07. Because they won in 08,
08.
Right?
No,
I
they
think
won 09 and 2010.
Okay, so it was
Let me
08.
fact check, so we're not.
So, well, whatever it is, you guys remember they lost to the Celtics first before they beat them. And in game one, I believe Kobe was going on a tear. And I think it was said and done. The game was said and done. And this was towards the end. And I remember, Chris Rock, Adam Sandler, and David Spade and Paul Blart, Mall Cop guy, were promoting their new movie. And they're sitting courtside next to the Lakers. And Chris and all of them are trying to talk to Kobe. And the game's not over, even though it was over. And Kobe's they're sitting right next to him. And he's just ignoring them. And he's locked in. I'm just like, look at this guy. He don't give a fuck what these stars are saying to him. Like, this man. So when I saw that triggered something in me. And I had 10 times more respect for him than ever. And I think what I connected most with him was, I understand it's the Mamba mentality, but what connected with me most was his focus and his attention to detail. And I've always, and when I started seeing that, like, I find the brain fascinating and what it's capable of doing and how the mind works. So I'm always trying to figure out how I can be more focused, or how, not even cut corners, but just be more aware and be more present and stuff like that. So I started digging into Kobe's thoughts and thought process and how he works, and that's when I became very fascinated with the guy and became an even bigger fan because of that mentality. And it's something that everyone's capable of doing, and obviously that led to the championships and all the accolades and everything else he was awarded. So, but yeah, man, that's my experience with him and just my interest in the guy, and, the fact that he was just this incredibly, incredibly focused individual that, you just marvel at and just think, damn, like that's where I want to be mentally,
Yeah. I feel he's definitely defines discipline through the Mamba mentality. Very similar to DangerZone. We grew up together, and we grew up on the court together, and that's part of why there's a basketball court in the middle of a store in Burbank.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was built off the Capri Suns and orange slices and chips that we would get. Whose turn it was.
The occasional pizza.
The occasional. Dude, that was the rich. That was the rich family.
Damn, they brought pizzas.
And it was built off of those memories, and I think building this place was all about creating those memories. And unlike Joe, I did hate Kobe. Like it was a different feeling for me. Obviously, younger, not understanding what hate even meant. So for that sake, it was just kind of like your arch nemesis, right?
You just disliked him because you're an Iverson fan.
Pound for pound, Allen Iverson was the best basketball player in my mind, and probably to this day, right? Go pound for pound. But I remember that 2001 championship, and Allen went into Staples Center, stepped over Ty Lue, and just was the man, and took down Kobe and Shaq, and they were undefeated the entire playoffs. And I remember rolling into, I didn't even have an Iverson jersey at the time, but I took my brother's, shout out to Andy's, the royal blue Sixers jersey, and wore it on my backpack, and wore it proud to some of in their face,
Yeah, we got so much hate from Laker kids.
Oh my God!
Because I wore a jersey the day after they won, the Sixers won, and I was hearing it.
You know what I'm saying? And so those moments, I'll never forget, because they were tied to him, and his greatness. At the end of the day, you couldn't, at the time, you couldn't beat his work ethic. You couldn't beat what he was doing, and it, just like everything else in life, it took me some time to mature and be able to understand what I was observing firsthand, and really so it's funny, I shared this text on the store account, and it was weird, but some of the guys that even you guys know to this day that I went to high school with, it was a clique. There was 5 of us total, and my bad, Roy, we had 6 of us, and
shout out Roy.
Shout out to Roy. But shout out to my boys, man, Marvin, Brandon, Alex, and Daniel. But I got a text from Alex, and he literally, other than every other Filipino in Panorama City, had the Kobe fadeaway. And it didn't matter if you were 5'2", 5'3", 5'5", or 6 foot. You had the patent Kobe crossover fadeaway, and you couldn't grow out a fro, but you let your hair grow and get your, Dragon Ball Z gel vibe to get that look. And
look.
I can't even tell you in any amount of hands how many times either Kobe or AI had the rock in my backyard, and it was, 20 seconds on the clock. Somebody's on the clock, and you're playing every possession like you're there, and that's I think was the first time. It's funny because Danger, rightfully so, called me out because I'm an emotional guy, but a lot of these things mean so much to me, and I wear it on my sleeve, and I'm never afraid to show it. And I think that was the moment where it finally hit me. I think after all the different tributes, moments of silence, 8-second violations, 24-second violations, if you add up the years that they were both born in, they add up to 80-24. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And he just meant so much in every aspect, and even more so, like, not only on the court, because clearly, like, basketball shaped my life. Not my body because I ate a lot, but kept the shape. But
food was
you know
Miki's
what I'm
devil.
saying? Yeah, who goes to Tommy's after stairs workouts?
Jesus.
You guys had it right around the corner from your.
You had what? You guys had what was the name of that spot?
Perry's. Jesus.
Anyway,
I'm not sure if you're getting cow or rat for
right.
in your burger.
Yo, it was notorious.
But it was good. It was good for some high school kids.
Back
You know
then it
what
was
I'm
good.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you ain't eating that shit.
Everybody
now.
had that little
Hell
hood spot,
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's what Kobe means to me, man. It's like childhood, 20 years, and obviously growing up and being older and seeing him do his thing, and especially what he did after his career, winning an Oscar, winning different accolades in his creative process, partnering with the Mamba Academy, that was a sports academy prior to him taking investment into it, and just like building this infrastructure for the future was really mind-blowing. And I never got to meet Kobe. I got to watch him, of course, a handful of times. My one interaction's actually pretty funny. Our first year here, we had this kid submit artwork for a t-shirt, and it was Jordan elbowing Kobe, and it said GOAT on his jersey. And we developed this like GOAT series out of that one picture. And I was I'm like, nah, like, this is LA. Like, there's no way I'm getting away with this. Like, and it was like this iconic photo that he photoshopped where it was Jordan elbowing actually Charles Barkley. And we replaced Kobe. He got elbowed. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's make this a tour shirt. We put every date that Kobe ever played Jordan. And then the win losses, you could count them up yourself. And that was the GOAT capsule for MJ. Of course, we had to do Kobe elbowing MJ, and then we did Kobe elbowing LeBron. And what's crazy is I felt like, damn, I wish he saw that shirt, right? And the only thing I had was a cease and desist letter from his legal team. And I got to find it because I know it's filed somewhere because I wanted to hang it, right? And obviously we stopped sale of it and anything else. And what's so crazy is as we were preparing for this pod, I was in my office, and every couple months I go down the Mag Park IG and see where we're tagged and just start, showing love. Thank you for the support, whatever we're in. And there was a guy wearing that shirt next to Kobe.
Oh,
Shit.
wow.
Like,
No.
it was like, oh man, like maybe that was a reason for the cease and desist, but but it was dope to just know that he got to see that T, like, all respect to LeBron. And, one of the crazy things, and before getting into like the different amazing tributes that we all got to watch, but like, I think as difficult as this moment is, as terrifying and as it's just a hard time for the city. Rell and I got a chance to go to LA Live, and
yeah, man,
describing the scene there is
crazy.
It's crazy to see so many people and just emotions. It feels very heavy, and I guess what I wanted to get at was similar to how Nipsey helped kind of some gangs, find their ways to go past the small issues or bigger issues even to work together for their community because it's their community, and they empowered each other a little more.
Yeah.
And, in that same way, Kobe, who has a global impact, I think we've seen 2020 started off rough as fuck.
Yeah.
And I think, like many other things, some doors close and another one opens. And I think what his loss for all of us has brought us a lot together, whether it's the guys who absolutely hate LeBron, but they had a wake-up call that why am I even hating on a man that's repping the same team that I want to rep? Or, just in taking on the Mamba mentality. How can you not be at the gym and not put up another 24 shots? How can you not want to play the last game of the scrimmage up to 24 because it means a lot to you? It's a different mindset, and I think, unfortunately we had to lose him, but the world gained this new light and vision to improving themselves, because that's what he was about, and that's what we looked up to. So it's crazy. There was a ton of different tributes. I was actually at Staples the first basketball game back, which was
Lakers?
Clippers in Sacramento.
Oh, Clippers.
Yeah.
Clippers.
Kings won.
And that happened the night before the Lakers played. And they had their tributes.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of
Dame had quite a tribute.
Man, did
yo
back to back.
Does 24 plus 8 equal 50? I don't know my math's off.
Yo,
he put up 48 against the Lakers, and then he put up 51
That's
against
48.
Shout out to Gramsci, who said, well, at least we lost by 8. So
that's a positive way of looking at it.
That's one way of looking at it. That was a funny situation of that. And then the other one that was crazy was was it the same day he passed? I think it was Sunday, but Trae Young and Devin Booker combined, they both took 24 field goal attempts. Their points added up to 81. And they shot there was another 24 in there. It was eerie. These numbers, the numbers, people are always gonna find numbers.
Yeah, no, there's some girls out there that are doing 24 boyfriends in 8 months too. So that's a crazy number too. Shout out to you loyal Kobe fans out there.
They're gonna get 24 STDs or 8 children. They're gonna stop fucking around.
One of the two or both.
Mamba mentality, man. Shoot your shot.
Mamba mentality.
Shoot your shot.
Yeah, man. These memes are crazy. There was a meme with Prince and the Revolution saying, where the meme said, "Waiting for Kobe." Prince of Revolution, waiting for Kobe. It's them with the ball. It's Dave Chappelle as dressed as Prince.
What about the one with the angel halos, and they're like, who's this new guy shooting balls into their halos?
Oh yeah, he's annoying.
So it's hard to find. It's good to be able to see some light in this situation. It's been about a week and a half now, or so, 2 weeks.
No,
it's been a week.
Well, yeah, the day we're recording is a week and a day, but when this releases, because it was last Sunday.
Yeah, so it's a week and a half.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's still, still around. But I guess real quick, we are fresh off the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And they had a tribute for Kobe.
Latina.
That's kind of the story, huh?
Yeah. I'm happy for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we move on, make sure to check out Randy Moss's his conversation about Kobe. I think it was really also that man has a resume on the court, and so
I will say, as much as I did in those 2 days, where it was really hard, the day Kobe passed and then the following day.
Yeah.
As much as I didn't want to look at everyone's stories and thoughts and all that, it's really cool hearing some of these stories from the pros. And And just like, and well, not just the pros, everyone has their own story.
Right.
And a lot of it is the same because no one really knew, no one in my feed knew the guy, met the guy. So it's, it's just a lot of fan story, which is fine. But some of these other stories are, everyone had their own little Kobe moment. Like
that Lou Williams one was hilarious, bro.
Oh, when he threw away everybody's shoes.
He took everyone's Kobe's away.
Oh, y'all too soft. No,
and then the Nick Young one is great.
Oh God,
where Nick Young wanted Kobe to sign his Yeezys, and Kobe threw him in the trash.
Bro, how about everybody was flaming Kendrick Perkins because he told this story. I don't know if you guys know this. He told this story in a setting, right? And he goes, "Yeah, Kobe once told me I was the best one-on-one defender in the paint," and he got flamed. Like, bro, like, why is he even on the show? What is he even talking about? Like, he's crazy. He's cloud chasing. And then a clip pops up of Kobe saying, "Oh man, I love Kendrick. He's the best one-on-one defender in the paint."
Oh shit!
Whoops.
Apologize.
So it's just like,
oh yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, the receipts are there.
That's Kobe.
That's Kobe.
Yeah, no voiceover.
Yeah. So
damn,
there's so many great stories.
I will say, I mean, did you want to get into the whole Super Bowl thing?
We could.
I will say in closing out this, because I know we were going to give our thoughts on the show, the Super Bowl performance.
Yes.
I will say it's so easy after moments like this where you're inspired to whatever, take on the mama mentality or be focused in the studio because Michael Jackson passed away or Prince passed away or whatever it is. I will say that don't just allow this to happen for only 2 weeks. Whatever you're inspired to do, don't allow it to just happen for a few weeks and then just fade away. Like this is, I'm sure you all have been listening to old Kobe conversations, and it's like you got to make it a habit to wake up at 5 or whatever time you feel you need to wake up, and to where it just becomes a thing where you don't even think about it, and ultimately you're gonna be thankful that you stuck to what you wanted to do because it's gonna pay off dividends, as opposed to just I'm inspired and then 3 weeks later, have someone hold you accountable to it. Shit, God bless Sam, my girlfriend. She wants me to hold her accountable to things. If it was any other girlfriend, she'd be like, "Why are you writing me like this?"
I know you stay in her head.
I feel like that's dangerous.
Might have to edit that out.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying to have the
no,
permission.
and that's what I'm saying. You want me to remind you to hit the gym?
I feel like you need to record that and then just play it back.
Yeah.
Like, there's a receipt. You said.
Check your photos.
Right. Or just text
check
it
the
to
last
her.
video I sent you.
Get up.
But yeah, man, like shit. It's unfortunate that someone has to pass away for us to be inspired to do shit. But if that's what it takes, or for someone to get hurt or whatever, like especially you DJs, man, there's so many opportunities out there for you. And I won't do a deep dive, but
that should be a whole episode calling out fucking DJs and ourselves, like for different ways. I mean, I always give Joe his flowers when I can about his discipline and his hustle. And, I could look at it and be like, oh, that's kind of lame, but it's also him progressing. You know? Like maybe it's not as fun, but it's him progressing, right? And like in that you could find those things with anybody else. But at the end of the day, I think in the DJ culture, and we could get, again, this is gonna be his own episode, but like a lot of DJs don't do shit beyond what they're called to do.
Yeah.
And it's a very similar thing that we ran into all our lives, I think, with Valley basketball, is you play to the competition's level and you don't seem to want to supersede that because it's just enough.
Well, and also the stigma in the Valley is you have all this talent out here and nobody goes anywhere. Yeah. Only a few made it out, but nobody goes anywhere because
all the 6-footers are centers too.
Well, no, I mean like not that, but at least the generation I grew up in, we just had incredible talent that had D1 scouts come and check them out, but they just didn't give a fuck, or they felt they didn't want to leave home. They didn't want to leave their families. And it was, that's a whole other thing. But I will say this,
get into that
since you brought, it was something you said, reminded me, if you're really into this whole Kobe thing, one book I would recommend, and if there is a book I would recommend outside of, what's the book I gave you for your birthday? The Art of Stealing?
The Art of Stealing.
The Art of Stealing is an incredible book.
Stealing like an artist.
Still like an artist. Still Like an Artist. That's the book.
It's in my bathroom.
Look for that one. But if you're really into this whole Kobe mentality thing and Jordan and
we're not
all these greats,
theft, by the way.
Huh?
So we're not promoting theft.
No. There is a book called Relentless by Tim Grover that I go back and read at least once a year. And sometimes I pull up a Tim Grover conversation or interview, and it's just like, it's amazing how this guy thinks. But Tim Grover is responsible for about 16 NBA championships, from D. Wade, Jordan to Kobe, Hakeem Olajuwon, and even work with greats like Charles. And this guy, his attitude that basically you just take the emotions out of what you do and just do it. And most of the time it's the emotions that hold us back. I'm tired. I don't feel like it. Like if you teach yourself how to take that out and just accomplish what you're supposed to accomplish, you will see significant results. I've seen results for myself, but yeah, I mean, just look at how great these guys are. So again, Tim Grover's Relentless. Yeah, definitely recommend that book if you're into stuff like that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they had a nice tribute for Kobe.
Yeah, it was there. I saw it before the post came out. Did you guys see it? Did you guys read between the lines? Did you see the colors? Yeah, and
are you mad at the NFL?
No. I was just saying, like, I noticed it before it became like before the internet,
right?
Took to the surface and said,
"You're an intelligent man."
Well, I see purple and gold. I'm like, well, they're not doing purple and gold in Miami,
Huh? He said, "You better. You got a college degree."
Right.
That's got nothing to do with it. That just shows I can figure
It's
out how to get by another challenge in life. That's all. But shout out to those that got their degrees. Shit.
Yes.
But yeah, man, none of us were offended with the whole Shakira J-Lo thing, right?
Why
Is that just white people?
Be offended?
Is that just white people that was offended?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how anyone could be offended by that shit.
I feel like
to be honest with you,
I saw a lot of dudes on the this is lame train, or like Shakira's not.
They're lip syncing.
The lip syncing.
Like, man,
you go up there and sing one of her songs and dance the way she was
bodies are
dancing.
shaking like rattlers.
Like,
you can't sing.
Yeah.
You can't sing with the body shaking like this.
Be careful.
I'm just saying, I can understand why. Like, to all you purists and the keep it realists, like, relax. It's a show.
It's a performance.
It's not about keeping it real. It's about putting on a great show. So
we all know that the girls can sing. Like they're trying to put on a show.
Clearly.
I don't think that's the time where you got to prove anything, right? Like you
No.
have that platform for a reason, and I think the main reason why we decided to bring this up on a topic with such a heavier topic in the front of it is because they deserve the flowers, because at the end of the day, like, this Super Bowl is night and day to last year's Super Bowl.
Yo,
and
I'm the last couple.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to shade last year's halftime show or
because that's your
whatever.
boy. Shout out to Maroon 5. Look, man, it just wasn't the show for the Super Bowl, all right?
But
I know the women loved it because
the Rams
homeboy took his shirt
just
off.
didn't, they had a rough game.
Yeah.
Hopefully Tom Brady's last win. But
it's a whole other topic.
That's a whole other
Look,
topic.
man, I'm not going to front. In September, when they were, I think, 4-0, I hit up my Boston guys at Big Night, and I said, yo, put me down for Super Bowl weekend, because if they're going to win again,
hell no, man.
I'm going to go. I want to be out there again.
To the 4 teams they played, that's why they were 4-0.
I told Joe, it was so funny that there's this DJ fan of the Patriots, and he tweeted, like, we usually schedule our vacation around wild card week.
Oh, yeah. You on vacation now, huh, buddy?
But shout out to the Titans, man. Remember the Titans? They did their thing.
Yeah.
And a big shout out to the Chiefs.
Yes.
I don't care. I'm gonna name drop the shit out of my brother, Frank Clark. He fucking came with it at the end, and it was. I'm proud of him, man. He's a good dude.
Man, Kansas City.
Kansas City.
The Chiefs put on for Kansas City State.
The state of Kansas.
Yeah, the state of Kansas.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out to,
Orange top.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
But no, I thought the show was incredibly
halftime show was
entertaining. Oh my, and what a way to do it for Miami. I don't have any issues with them not including Pitbull, a Flow Rider, but
Be careful.
But I will say I'm surprised they didn't include them because when I think Miami, I literally think Pitbull.
I think Pitbull.
And Flow Rider, Florida
Pitbull.
isn't the guy's name. You know?
That's his name.
So I would, and I get it. Like you went with the young blood, the fresh names, and you're going after young, like totally 100% get it. And I imagine Pitbull handled it like a gentleman and professionally when he found out he wasn't asked to be in the show. But I wouldn't have mind of seeing Pitbull doing like 20 seconds of let's start the party, whatever that song's, that big hit.
Was Pitbull there?
He did like the pregame thing, or he was all over the place. He was there. He was all over. He just didn't perform.
Shout out to Phenom, big sports guy.
Oh yeah,
big sports guy Phenom.
He helped kind of coordinate things at the SiriusXM experience, and he had some amazing content that he could care less about the people he met and the Hall of Famers and the epic moments, but.
Jerry Rice? What is that? Like a rice brand? What kind of rice is this? Is it like a?
You paid the 49ers. You found gold.
You found gold, huh? That was a good year. That was a good year for America.
We like you.
Still gonna get us fired.
But no, they held us down. We're gonna get you fired from 2 jobs.
It'll be worth it. It'll be funny.
Anyway, it looked like a great experience, but definitely we had to show the flowers for Latinos, Latinas.
It was great.
Big up to Bad Bunny and J Balvin. J Balvin revealed his Air Jordan 1 collab.
I saw that.
Shout out to Balvin and my boy Upscale Vando Mike. He was a big part of that happening. And I only have to share a quick story. 2016, J Balvin is performing at the observatory in Santa Ana. Like small.
I love that venue. I
love that venue. Yeah. I'm not gonna front. Great.
I've seen so many people there.
Energy. And it was only, I think, the second or third time that I've hung out with Mike. And he's always shown me nothing but love, being a fellow Latino and just pushing the culture forward. And he introduced me to Jay, and to see him rock that venue. And shout out to DJ Pope too, he's good dude. Reps for DJcity and Beat Source. Heavy and DJcity Latino. But it was crazy to hear Mike tell me while we're watching his show where this is headed, where it's gonna be. And then I remember him doing Microsoft Theater. Like a year later. And then headlining Coachella, or one of the main acts of Coachella. Like, it's crazy to see where he's gone, and then landing collabs with Bape, landing collabs with Jordan Brand. It's just a beautiful thing to see as a fellow Latino. So big ups to all the Latinos out there holding it down. Big years.
If you were offended by the halftime show, get your head out your ass.
Yeah, man. I will say this. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
Yours sounds more important.
I feel like we've been on Twitter a little more lately. Yeah.
Well, I've always been in and out of Twitter. I just don't post a lot.
Meaning being on it physically, or like physically tweeting?
Physically tweeting.
Okay.
Because I wasn't really paying attention.
I think you're more active on it now.
I'm more active now for sure.
Yeah.
And I think one of my observations from Twitter, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like you can't look at it too much because it'll really, like, you could like let a virus in your head because of all the bullshit you read.
That's why I stayed off it when Kobe passed. Like,
nope, all the negativity. Not doing that. Like, I feel like the first thought for a lot of people is negativity because they think that's what's going to engage conversation.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fucking whack.
Yeah.
And people who hate on other people who are at platforms and levels that aren't at theirs, like, should shut the fuck up.
Well, that's why I say when you have, and I've tweeted stuff like this, when you have a personal relationship with someone that's on a platform, even the biggest platform in the world, and they fuck up or they do something that's not very smooth, you empathize with them, you understand, and you don't really have anything negative to say. You just said, damn, we just didn't get it that time.
Yeah.
Or she just didn't get it that time.
Yeah.
But when you don't know the individual, that's when you have something to say. But I promise you, like a perfect example is LMFAO. Now I'm seeing more Maybe because Party Rock Anthem's getting played more, and now people have something to say, or there's just more conversation about it for whatever reason.
Right.
But people got something to say about Party Rock Anthem and LMFAO, and it's like, man, I promise you, if you were in that studio while that magic was happening, you wouldn't be saying this. Or if you had somewhat of a relationship with him and you say, you know what, I didn't know Redfoo before that, but he's actually a really nice guy.
Yeah. Now
you would be less inclined to say something negative about him. And that's what I learned coming up with LMFAO. Like, remember when Diplo used to beef with this guy and they would talk shit on Twitter like 8 years ago? It was like a big thing.
Diplo?
Yeah, Diplo would talk shit. Deadmau5, Zed, like all of them would kind of like just chirp at each other. Actually, Deadmau5 is a whole different animal.
Man.
But
he was 6'9".
But these guys would talk a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And these are guys on big platforms. But then when we would go talk to these guys, and by we I mean Redfoo and the whole crew or just whoever, when we would talk to these guys, they were extremely, extremely nice. And it was like, man, you didn't have that same energy before, So it's like,
keep that same energy.
Yeah. So it's like, I try not to take it I just try to take it as a grain of salt when people talk like that. And it's so convenient that you give a pass to this guy because you have a relationship with them, But if you didn't have that relationship, you would have something to say. So
yeah, I mean, Twitter's just a platform for people to talk shit because ain't nobody gonna listen to them in their real lives anyway. So let them express.
Well, and
themselves.
half the time, people that are commenting or tweeting or do whatever, they just do it so that they can get a reply. And then sometimes, famously for us as Mag, we would get a comment about like, "Oh, that shoe is fake," and then we'll be like, "Come look at them yourself." And then their response to that was, "Oh my God, you replied, hey, can I talk to Miki?" And it's just like, yo,
get Miki on the line.
Like, find a different way to engage in conversation.
Nah, you know what? We have to take responsibility. You shouldn't engage in them in the first place. You know what I mean? Like if they say, "Oh, that shoe is fake."
Okay, now we just block them.
Yeah.
Sorry, take out your privileges. Privilege, not a right.
But hey, man,
But we might as well say this while we have this since it's going up soon. February 25th. We will be having a link up at Shrine inside the Foxwood Casino in Connecticut.
Well, we'll be in attendance.
We'll be in attendance. Yeah, we won't be hosting that one, but we'll be there. Nevertheless, there is a Beat Source DJ City link up. A-Track will be performing later on that night. And
I hope they let me in.
And then the next day, I got you. I know the owner.
Okay, bet.
Okay. The next day.
Gotcha. Sick.
That's a big flex. I know the owner. The next day, same owners, so I got you there.
Man, I hope so, because this place is worse.
Boston, this city is worse.
Oh my God damn.
The Shrine is like in the middle of nowhere, so your body could go anywhere out there.
Listen,
but
don't get us fired from this game.
Keeping my location on at all times.
Got you. Share it with
Wifey's
me.
from Connecticut, so she knows.
Yeah, you get to see where your wife used to work.
So.
So again, Wednesday, the following day, February 26th, we what do we call it? MikiDz Podcast will be hosting a link up at Empire, which is a restaurant. Same owners as the Grand and MikiWAR, and we'll be hosting a link up there. There's a flyer on DJcity and Beat Source, and we're gonna not do a live pod, but we're gonna record a few pods there. We're gonna be bringing a few people into the pod, into the episode, and talk to them, interview them. And I talked to Randy, the owner of Grand, and he said he's down to do a separate episode with us. He said, I've never done a podcast before, so this should be interesting.
Another first.
Lovely.
Another first, yep. And so that's going to happen. And then immediately after that, A-Track will be at the Grand, and Miki will be opening, or should we say co-headlining? How do you want us to word this?
Since this is our platform.
This is we can make this whatever you want us to make
it.
Co-headlining, baby.
So Miki will be co-headlining for A-Track with A-Track.
You're stupid.
Miki will be co-headlining for A-Track at the Grand, which is a beautiful, beautiful venue. I encourage any DJs. I know that all those states out there are kind of close. It's like a 2 to 4 hour drive for some of them. Man, I strongly encourage you guys to come out to this event. I'm super duper looking forward to it. I know some cats are flying down from Philly. And because I explained the significance of this event, and
is it flying down or is it flying?
I don't know. He's flying from Philly. That's all I know. Flying up from Phillies, if that makes sense. I was talking to VTech. I was like, look, you need to come out to this. She said she wanted to do some network. I said, boom, this is a place to be a network. So, throw some money out there and hopefully she can make it. But yeah, so strongly encourage you guys to make it out to this event. And that's about it for that.
Yes, sir.
Tight. Well, we intended to give you guys 30 minutes of this pod.
But you get a whole hour.
You get a whole hour. Because we like to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And
that's good, though.
We appreciate you guys tuning in, for real.
This special episode.
So keep your eyes peeled for that next episode 33 with Charlie Sloth.
Yeah, if you don't know Charlie Sloth, look him up.
Look
kind
him
of a big
up.
deal in the UK. Kind of a big deal.
Amazing episode.
Yeah, that actually was a dope episode.
Make sure to tune in. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to DJcity,
Beat
Source,
Mm-hmm.
DJ Dainjazone,
Mm-hmm.
DJ Rell,
Yes, sir.
and MikiWAR signing out.